Really interesting rematch, Matt, on our main card between Magomed Ankalaev and the Hulk, Ion Cutelaba. And it's an interesting one because this first fight ended in controversy. It's nothing like your Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier trilogy to a lesser extent, or even the sequel. But we get a sequel light heavyweight between these two primary strikers. Magomed Ankalaev so far in the UFC's looked great. He looked great in that Paul Craig fight until the last second when he got submitted. But apart from that, he's looked great. He beat the EFC or former EFC champ, Dalcha Lujanbula with a front kick.
That was insane.
If you want to go back through Marcin Prachinio, big knockout win there. Beats the former Brave champ.
Hard to look good against the Brave.
Clidson Abreu, you have to worry about the submission ability there. And then he had the crazy fight against Ion Cutelaba. And if you look at Cutelaba in his last 5 fights, we go back 3 years when he fought Luis Enrique and did that and all the stunting, and then he knocks him out absolutely cold. So you think there's a super high ceiling on this guy, and he's still only 26 years old, almost 27. He knocks out Gadshimurad Antigula, but Paul Craig dummied him there.
Exactly.
And then he fought Glover Teixeira. Way too high up. You can't go from beating Gadshimurad Antigula to Glover Teixeira. So that was weird. Then he fights Khalil Roundtree, and that was Bangkok ready Khalil. And then he finished him. So then he fights Ankalaev and plays rope-a-dope and loses a game against Kevin McDonald. So now we get this rematch. What do you make of it?
So it's an interesting rematch because I don't really think we need to see it. I understand there was a little bit of controversy. We were talking about 2 unranked light heavyweights in a division that, you know, we kind of need parity at the top of this division. Everyone's 36 or above, it seems, who it really is. You have new guys like Yuri Prohaska. He's kind of the new blood right now after what he did to Uzumir. You have Thiago Santos, but he's kind of had a shot. He's been out for a long time.
You get the Rakic's. There's
some new guys starting to move up, but that division's moving like molasses. I know the whole pandemic doesn't really help its case very much, but it would be nice to see these 2 guys match up with other people moving forward. And I get it. Cutelaba was kind of playing that rope-a-dope game. Ankalaev had him hurt, though. You don't just start doing that because you think, hey, this is a great game plan in this fight. He gets clipped behind the ear. Cutelaba's kind of wobbly, and then you kind of realize, okay, he's recovered from the initial shot that did hurt him, but he is going to try to keep on playing this game. Ankalaev was still teeing off on him that whole time. If your best bet to win a fight is, let me pretend to be hurt, and hopefully he walks into a big overhand right, you probably need a new coach if that really is your game plan, because that's never your best way to get to a victory. It's the same thing. It was my problem when TJ was complaining after he lost to Henry Cejudo. You shot for a single leg against an Olympic gold medalist. It's not like that was, that wasn't the game plan going into that fight. So, of course, you weren't in the right state of mind. And with Cutelaba, he's a guy who's very hittable, and they always bill him as this very credentialed wrestler from Moldova. Jared Cannonier was able to take him down at light heavyweight, which is a very odd fact, because Jared Cannonier, much more known for his striking. And I understand he was a heavyweight moving down to light heavyweight for that fight, and it was fight at night, it was close, it was competitive. But Cutelaba, if he doesn't get that KO, I don't really know how he beats you. He's in that Walt Harris category for me right now, where Walt Harris, if he's going to win a fight, I can tell you exactly how.
Matt, people are really not high on your Walt Harris analysis, saying that Derek Lewis has better striking than Walt Harris. But I digress.
That's fine.
Walt Harris, to me, is a really explosive striker, and he's a really crisp striker. The trouble is, once the fight goes on, it's less about Walt Harris and more about his opponent.
Oh, I didn't even have anything to do with that. It's just, if Walt Harris is in a fight, I know how he's going to win. He's either going to win by a knockout in the first round or the early part of the second round, and if not, he's probably going to get tired and lose the decision. With Cutelaba, he's kind of falling into that same category for me where, yes, I really do enjoy the whole, when he wore the Bret the Hitman Hart glasses and he walked out in Calgary, like, he's a fun character outside of the cage, but when you really look at his talent, I don't really see him being the next, and I hate to use the term Johnny Walker, because Walker did have such a quick ascent and then such a big demise, but he's starting to fall into that category for me, mainly because he's just, you always hear about the things that he can do, and you always hear about the excitement that he can bring, but then when you watch him fight, he gets tired pretty quick. He's not the best wrestler. He's not the most technical guy. He's like if Paulo Costa didn't have that same kind of cardio and explosiveness and like all the good things to make Paulo Costa. Cutelaba has his power and a little bit of his hand speed, but he's really only got that for like 3 rounds. And Ankalaev, when we do see him in those long extended fights, now I understand the Paul Craig fight, it's kind of the oddity on his record, but when you look at what he's able to do, if the fight stays standing, Ankalaev has a far more diverse array of strikes that he can choose from. He's the much better striker out of the two. Cutelaba probably hits harder, but Ankalaev, he can mix up with the kicks, the takedowns, the wrestling. He's very much more a a martial artist, whereas Cutelaba is more of just a knockout artist.
And it's one of those ones where it gets really interesting because it's just like, it's sad that this is going to happen, but Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson, you got to worry about the knockout. And I think Mike Tyson is going to be an overwhelming favorite in that boxing exhibition. But it's similar to the end of Mike Tyson's career where he was losing, but everybody said, oh, well, just wait. He's got that knockout power. You watch out for it. It's like that with Cutelaba. You always have to watch out for that overhand right, that knockout power. The troubling thing for me is he couldn't really figure out the cardio, so he sought outside sources and then ended up with a USADA suspension.
Yeah.
That's an issue, and I get it.
You
can sleep in a hyperbaric chamber. It can kind of change the whole chemistry with your blood. So, and maybe that's what he did. I don't know what he did, but he still accepted a 6-month suspension, which isn't much of a suspension, but I digress. Magomed Ankalaev, to me, it's a conversation that we have all the time when we have strikers facing strikers, and we have to break them down for what they're worth, and it could become a fight night picks type of thing, but it's technique versus those long looping shots, and it's one of those ones where Ion Cutelaba, long looping shots, power heavy, but that bar is going to try to drain, or it will drain quickly. Magomed Ankalaev, he's going to carry it, he's going to get on his bike, you know exactly what he's going to do, and if somebody sinks a nasty choke with a second left in a fight, he might just lose it. But it's one of those ones where, yeah, I would agree with you the way that we're trending to Ankalaev. It's weird the way that the odds are going because right now Ankalaev is the favorite, a minus 300. Cutelaba comes in plus 240. Ankalaev open is a minus 360, so there is money coming in on Cutelaba, which might come as a bit of a surprise. But overall, yeah, I see this for Ankalaev. There's always the risk that Cutelaba gets a finish in the either, like you said, the first round or early in the second. But if it wears on any sooner or any more, Ankalaev should be able to get the win. And even in the early bits, you saw it in the last fight, whether it was rope a dope or not, whether you're playing the Yoel Romero game against Paulo Costa, it worked for Ankalaev, and I could see him winning again here.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that.
All right, Matt. We're really looking forward to this card. We got some great predictions for this one. Really looking forward to our main event, the trilogy fight between Miocic and Cormier. Make sure you check that out. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt. And as we always say, let's get into it.